The rain came down hard that night, one of those relentless storms that makes even the most familiar roads feel like strangers. Jake Miller squinted through the wipers of his old Ford pickup, his daughters Lily and Emma fast asleep in the back seat, their heads resting on each other. They were coming back from his late shift at the auto shop, the girls too tired to stay awake, their schoolbooks still scattered across the seat. Money was tight, as always. Since his wife passed 5 years ago, Jake had been doing everything: father, mother, provider. He'd learned to braid hair, pack lunches, and change diapers all in the same morning. Life wasn't easy, but he was proud of what they had. It wasn't much, but it was honest. As he rounded a bend on the country road, his headlights caught something, a car, half off the shoulder, its hazard lights blinking weakly through the rain. He slowed down. A sleek black Mercedes, probably worth more than his house, was nose down in a ditch. Jake muttered, "Who the hell's out here in this storm?" He pulled over. "Stay in the truck, girls," he said softly. "I'll be right back." The cold rain slapped his face as he jogged over. The driver's door was jammed. He yanked it open with a grunt. Inside was a woman, mid-30s maybe, long dark hair plastered to her cheeks, blood running down from a cut near her temple. Her eyes flickered open, dazed.
Hey, don't move. I'm gonna get you out, okay?" Jake said, his voice steady but urgent. She tried to speak, but her lips trembled too hard. The airbags had gone off, and the smell of burned fabric filled the car. Jake carefully helped her out and carried her to his truck. She was light, too light. "You're gonna be okay," he said as he laid her across the seat. "Emma, grab that blanket from the back."
The girls stirred awake, eyes wide. Lily whispered, "Daddy, who is she?" "Someone who needs help," he said simply. They drove to the nearest hospital, 30 minutes away. Jake didn't ask who she was, or why she was driving alone in a storm like this. He just kept talking to her, keeping her awake, telling her everything would be fine. At the ER, he helped the nurses get her inside, filled out the basic forms because she was barely conscious, and gave his own contact number in case they needed to reach her. He didn't even know her name.
The next day, as Jake was under a rusted Chevy at the shop, his phone rang. It was the hospital. The woman, Ms. Alina Hart, wanted to see him.
Jake frowned. Alina Hart? He'd heard the name before. A tech investor. Billionaire. Owned half the downtown real estate. He almost didn't go, thinking it must be a mix-up.
But he went anyway. When he entered her private room, she smiled weakly from the hospital bed. She looked different, cleaned up, in control, but still fragile. "You're the man who pulled me out of that car," she said softly. Jake shrugged. "Anyone would have done the same." "Not everyone," she said. "People passed by before you stopped. The dash cam caught it. Cars just kept going." Jake didn't know what to say. She looked at him for a long time, then her eyes drifted to the two little girls peeking shyly from behind his leg. "Your daughters?" "Yeah. Lily and Emma." "Beautiful," Alina whispered. "You must be a good father." Jake chuckled. "I try." She insisted he sit. They talked about the storm, about life, about his late wife, about how he worked double shifts to keep things afloat. He didn't mean to share so much, but she had a way of listening that made silence impossible. When he got up to leave, she said something unexpected. "Jake, when I woke up in that ditch, I thought it was over. Everything I built, all the money, it didn't mean a damn thing. But you, someone who had nothing to gain, showed up." He smiled awkwardly. "Like I said, anyone would've." But she shook her head. "No, you did." 2 weeks later, Alina showed up at Jake's auto shop. Not in a limo, not with bodyguards, just herself, in jeans and sneakers. The guys at the shop stared. Jake froze mid-sentence, grease still on his hands.
"I figured I owed you a car wash," she joked, holding out her hand. He laughed. "You really didn't have to." "I know," she said, "but I wanted to."
They talked again. This time, longer. Over time, Alina started visiting more often, sometimes dropping off lunch for Jake and the girls, sometimes just hanging around the shop, curious about engines and tools. She didn't act like a billionaire. She acted normal. The girls adored her. Emma once asked if she was a princess. Alina laughed, saying something like that.
One evening, after closing the shop, Alina stood by the doorway watching Jake work. "You ever dream of doing more with this place?" she asked. Jake shrugged. "Sure. I'd love to have my own garage someday. Maybe train other single parents who need work. But dreams don't pay bills."
Alina smiled faintly. What if they could? He looked up. What do you mean? Consider it an investment, she said simply. Jake blinked. Wait, you're serious? Alina nodded. You didn't ask for anything. That's exactly why I want to help.
He refused at first, pride kicking in. But she was relentless, kind yet firm. Eventually, he agreed, on one condition. It had to be a partnership, not charity.
And that's how Miller and Hart Automotive was born. Months passed. The small garage turned into a thriving repair and training center, employing single parents and young apprentices. Jake still worked with his hands, still picked up his daughters from school every day, still wore the same old cap his wife had given him years ago. But something inside him had changed. And so had Alina. She started finding joy in small things, family dinners at Jake's house, Sunday mornings watching cartoons with the girls, learning how to make pancakes that turned out lopsided but edible. The world she'd built on deals and deadlines began to mean less than the laughter of two little girls and the smile of a man who'd once had nothing but heart. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the new garage, Alina stood beside Jake, both of them watching Lily and Emma chase each other around the parking lot. Funny how life works, she said softly. Jake nodded. Yeah, one broken car, and everything changes. She looked at him, eyes glinting in the fading light. Not broken. Just needed a little fixing. Jake smiled. Guess we all do, sometimes. The wind rustled, carrying the sound of the girls' laughter. The same road that had once brought a storm now shimmered with calm. And for the first time in a long while, Jake felt something he thought he'd lost forever, hope.